guys, today I am participating in a collaboration with 50 Chickens in a Hen House. I will have that channel and the playlist linked in the description box below. It is all about what you do differently for your chickens for the winter time. Now, as you can see, here in Indiana, it is cold today. It's only 33 degrees. And we are supposed to get snow tomorrow. So, although it was Sunday yesterday, my husband and I came out and we finished up our winterizing for our chickens and our ducks. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around and I'll show you what we typically do each winter to make things a little bit more comfortable for our animals. Indiana's weather is very temperamental. You never know from one year to the next what the winter is going to be like. The last 2 winters have been incredibly hard with lots and lots of snow and lots of below zero temperatures. Who knows what this winter is going to bring? We're hoping for a milder winter. But in case that it is another hard one, we prepare our coops the same every fall. So let me show you what we did and what we do each year to provide for our animals. So this is what we did yesterday. We put the tarps back up. We always tarp the north side of the coop and the ends, the east and the west sides of the coop. We very, very rarely get any kind of storms out of the south. And in fact, on a sunny day, it does allow more warmth into the yard for the chickens and the ducks if you leave the south side open. So we tarped up the north side. Of course, we had to leave the doors open, but this gives them an area to get in out of the wind and the weather. The other thing that we do differently in the wintertime is that we switch the chickens. The ducks don't eat this, but we switch the chickens to straight cracked corn instead of scratch mix. Straight cracked corn has more calories and fat, and it's harder to digest, so it makes their bodies create more energy and more heat, and thus they stay warmer. So I'm going to go ahead and give my chickens some scratch this morning. I have 2 separate coops, as those of you who follow my channel know. And in this coop, I just have 2 chickens, so they don't get as much scratch as the other chickens do. This chicken is new. We just introduced her. This old mama chicken, we call her, although she's never actually hatched out any chicks, but she's the oldest hen we have. She was in here all by herself. And that chicken, it's a long story, but she wound up being all on her own. And so we had 2 chickens all on their own, so we introduced them. That's why she's pacing so much. She's still not used to being in here. But so far, so good. They seem to be getting along well. We brought her over in the middle of the night. We got her off of her roost and put her in this coop in the middle of the night. And so it was easier. See that one over there is so nasty. They are so mean. I'm trying to peck her through the fence. The other thing we do to winterize is we have this, it's a dog watering bowl, and it's an electric one, heated, and we have it plugged in. So that keeps their water from freezing. The one thing we do that is a little bit controversial in the poultry community is that we do put heat lamps in the coops. We started that last year. Up until last year, we never heated the coops. But last year we had some losses, and we only had we had 2 chickens left in here. We had her, and then we had a white one, and the white one died this summer. But anyway, we only had 2 chickens in here, and we had such a rough winter. It was so cold that we didn't think 2 chickens could stay warm enough on their own, perched in there. So we added a heat lamp. And in the big house where all the other chickens are, we put a heat light in there to keep the waters from freezing. So then my husband felt so bad for the chickens in the blue house. Oh, those chickens are so mean. That he went ahead and decided to put a heat light in their house as well. Honestly, chickens are so stinking mean to each other that I'm about had enough of them. And I'd really just rather get out of the chicken business and only have ducks. That's my goal. And that's kind of the story behind why there's that one lone black chicken. I'll tell you that story in a minute. But I'm going to come around here and give these chickens some scratch. Maybe it'll distract them and stop trying to peck that poor chicken through the wire. They're so stinking mean. You guys are mean, hateful old creatures. They are so mean. Oh, until I actually started raising chickens a lot, I never realized how stinking mean they are. They really irritate me because they're so mean. I'm going to go ahead and let my ducks out, and then I'll show you what I do in the blue house. As far as the ducks go, for winterizing for them, I basically just provide a lot of bedding. I put a really thick layer of straw down. They have lots and lots of layers of feather and down, and their feathers are waterproof, and so they really don't mind the cold at all. In fact, they do really well. We've never had any issues with frostbite or anything with them, and it gets down to 20 below sometimes around here. And my ducks have always done really well. With ducks, it's impossible to heat their waters. At least I have not found a good source or way to keep their waters from freezing. So we basically just bust the ice off the top if it's frozen over completely, and then add more water with buckets, because this time of year we have to unhook the hose. And also, these girls over here, for those of you who are not familiar with my channel, these are my lame ducks. They have some hip and feet problems. That's typical for Pekins, the breed, because they're so heavy. So I have them segregated. So that's basically all I do for the ducks. I make sure they have plenty of food, good quality food, and a nice thick layer of straw, and somewhere to get in out of the weather. And they do sleep inside those Rubbermaid tubs. We just took some big Rubbermaid tubs, cut an opening, turn them upside down, and they're like little dog houses for ducks. And they do go inside there, and they'll get 2 or 3 of them will get inside one if it's really cold. And these guys have the nest box to get into if they want to, or they can get down under there, underneath. There's a thick layer of straw under there, and then it's also tarped on 2 sides. So they really do stay quite snug out here. We emptied out their last pool. There's the ice that was in it, and I need to get that put away. It's kind of dirty, but the hoses are up for the winter, so I'm going to have to just leave that till spring. I will spray it out with the hose in the spring, and it'll be good as new. Well, it'll never be as good as new after the ducks have used it, but you know what I mean. Good enough. So this is the blue house, and what we do for the winter is we block up the window that's on the north side. But unless it's like super bad blizzard conditions, which we do get those on occasion, this is the north window, and we leave that open. Chickens need lots of ventilation, even in the winter time. So inside the coop, we do the deep litter method, which means we don't clean the coops out very often. We just let the poop accumulate, and we add layers of straw or wood chips on top, and that helps create heat. So that's why it looks kind of gross in here, but that's for a reason. Like I said, we did wind up putting a heat light in here for them. And then over here, which the water's empty, I need to get them some more. This thing here is a heated base, which is plugged in. And of course you have to have a metal pan on top of it. And you just fill that with water and it stays, unless it's like really, really super, super cold, it stays thawed. But it appears they need more water, so I'm going to have to go get them that. We get water with a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket in the wintertime. This is the 5-gallon bucket I use. We just bought this at Lowe's because all of our buckets were broken, and so we needed a new one. So I ended up getting this. So I'm going to get that chicken some water. So since the hoses are put away for the winter, we have to just come to the house and since it's just the one pan that needs water, I don't have to fill this bucket all the way full. So then all of you know that in this shed I have Virginia, who's my crippled chicken, and Al. Ginny is crippled. She got injured years ago permanently, and so she cannot be free range and she cannot perch because she only has one foot that works properly. So in the wintertime we put her in this shed with a heat light. This guy is a chicken that I raised from a chick, and he just is used to coming in here at night. It's just part of his, you know, chickens go back to where they're used to roosting. He comes back there. He comes back every night to where he's used to sleeping. He was raised in, well, he was raised in the house when he was itty bitty. And then up until he was like a teenage chicken and fully feathered out, he was in the shed in that cage. And then once he was able to regulate his own body temperature, then he became a free-range chicken. But he comes back every night to sleep in his cage. So I just lock him up in there and for protection, and I close the door. And so that's what we do with him. And because he can't perch either to stay warm, that's why he's got a heat light over his cage as well. And it also keeps their waters from freezing when there's a heat light in there. So let me take you over here to the big house and I'll explain to you what happened and why we have that black chicken, that extra black chicken. As many of you know, the chickens that were in this big house were actually my dad's chickens. And a couple of years ago, my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and because of the medication he had to take for that, it caused brittle bones. And so he has to be very, very careful about not falling. There for a while, he was breaking bones, just like basically not doing anything really. He was compressing his spine and breaking vertebrae in his back. And he lost a couple of inches in height, all that jazz. So anyway, when all of that was happening, we ended up taking over his chickens. He would still buy the feed, but we would take care of them and do everything with them. And it just kind of got to the point, especially after last winter, because we had such a horrible winter, that, just to be honest, we just really got tired of taking care of them. And they had all went through a molt and were not laying eggs, so we were getting nothing, getting no eggs from them. We were having to buy eggs from the store. My dad's on a fixed income, and he was having to buy feed, and he was not getting anything out of it either, not even the joy of taking care of them. And so last week, Scott found somebody who was willing to come and take them for free. He homed them, gave them to a new home, and they came in and they had big old pet carriers, and they came in and they caught all of the chickens. We had about 18 chickens, I think. Caught them all and took them to their new home. Well, unbeknownst to us at the time, that little black chicken wedged herself in here behind this feed barrel back in there. She's black and it's kind of dark in that corner, and she sat perfectly still and she got left behind. So she was the only chicken left. And so we thought, well, we'll just leave the door open and she can become one of the free rangers. Well, we waited and waited and she refused to leave. And we didn't want to leave her in here because part of the reason we got rid of the chickens is we didn't want to have to try to heat this building. We didn't want to try to have to fool with waterers and all of that this winter, and we would have had to do that for one chicken. And she would have not, she probably wouldn't have survived a winter anyway all by herself in there. So that's why we moved her over to my coops. Now all of these chickens are just our free rangers. They do very well for themselves foraging. We do give them crack corn or scratch feed, whichever we have on hand, every day, and we give them extra in the winter, and they have always done quite well. Just taking care of themselves, so they're not an issue at all. But as I was saying, when my chickens all die off, the ones that I have, when they're all gone, I'm not getting any more chickens to keep. We'll always have the free range chickens. They're fun. They are really good pest control. We've had markedly reduced amounts of ticks and mosquitoes because of the free rangers. We don't get any eggs out of them because, of course, they lay wherever they feel like it, and we can't, you know, if we do find an egg, we don't know how long it's been there, so we don't forage and, you know, get the eggs. But just for pest control purposes, they're awesome, and I enjoy watching them roam free. I think that's the way chickens were meant to be. So anyhow, we love our ducks. Our ducks they're not near as mean and hateful and nasty as chickens. And so once all my chickens are gone, I will not have chickens anymore. I do plan on having ducks. We prefer the duck eggs anyway. And like I said, the ducks are much easier going. They do have their pecking order, you might say, but they handle it and they settle it so much better than the chickens. They just kind of push each other around a little bit, and that's it. They do not kill each other. I mean, chickens will literally peck each other to death if you let them. If something happens, if they get a sore spot or whatever. Introducing a new chicken into the flock is perilous. I mean, it's a 50-50 if they're going to accept her or not. If they don't, then it's death. A terrible death to that chicken. So yeah, chickens are not, they're not my cup of tea, not anymore. I love Jenny, my tame chicken that I rescued, and she's friendly. But the rest of the chickens, I'd really be glad when they're gone, to be quite honest. But I'm not gonna cull them, and I'm not gonna just, you know, I probably maybe could have given them away when I gave away the rest of the chickens, but the old mama chicken, I'm not going to get rid of her. I've had her since the very beginning, and she would have been the only chicken left, and that's not good either. So we'll just let nature take its course, and once they're gone, and I won't be getting any more. Alright friends, I hope you enjoyed this video of my homestead, what I do with my chickens for the winter. I hope that in your neck of the woods you have a nice tame mild winter and not too much snow and ice and cold, because that's what I'm hoping for us. We'll talk to you later, friends. Bye bye.